Welcome to another exciting edition of the Squared Circle. It is February 25th, 2013. Got more news and info to get to you. Got a rundown of what's happening on Raw this evening. I am Hollywood J. Williams. This is
John Zimmerman.
And here we have with us this week, joining us from the Powerhouse Wrestling Academy, the current PWA World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Lucifer Lords.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks
You're
for
good.
International champion.
International
Not
champion.
Just everything.
Everything. What about the universe?
Why not?
Why not?
I'll take on all comers.
Definitely. We'll be asking Mr. Lords some great questions.
There goes the belt.
And there goes your belt.
Because you said it wrong.
It's because I said it wrong. Is that it?
International.
It's trying to show you.
This is two great shows in a row here. I mean, last week was great. We had our best work ever.
Yeah.
The two Nickies.
Yes, we were sandwiched by Nikki. It was great. We had a great time. Two great interviews. Two fabulous female athletes, and we're looking forward to see what they're going to come up with in the future.
Definitely. I think Nicolette Vincelli has great potential to be a great star one day.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see Nikki Nitro on TV really soon.
I got that kind of feeling.
Oh, yeah. Team 3D will definitely hook her up.
Mm-hmm. TNA.
We hope.
They bring some prestige back to these women's divisions like we were saying last week.
Yeah.
I think it's a great start. We have a new TNA Knockouts champion, too, but we'll get to that shortly. First, we have WWE news. We're 6 weeks away from WrestleMania. They have to really go ahead and start pushing it and make a hard sell for it, and they have to start tonight.
Yeah, well, they got quite a big swerve of their own with Jack Swagger being picked up for driving under the influence. You know, the biggest push of Swagger's career, and he goes and gets pinched like that. And now it was looking like he was going to get a title shot at WrestleMania. So we will see later on tonight, what they do with him.
Driving under the influence, speeding, and possession of marijuana.
Yes.
And on a guilty verdict on possession of marijuana would be a violation of the wellness policy.
Absolutely.
It'd be, I don't know what happens to you when you have a first offense.
Well, if you're Randy Orton, it kind of gets overlooked.
If your last name rhymes with Norton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, here's the rub is that this week, Jack Swagger's character, particularly Zeb Coulter, was in the national news. The first time WWE's broke national news in quite some time, and now NBC News, CNN, and Glenn Beck himself were all talking about the Zeb Coulter character and the controversy. And now, you know, Jack Swagger really throws him a curveball.
Enough gimmick that he's doing with this. It's a controversial issue.
Yeah, yeah, and controversy equals cash, and they got into mainstream media right 6 weeks before WrestleMania. What more can you ask for? Vince is probably excited that all these
people are actually
real news stories are coming out. And
we have a link on our Facebook page with an NBC News story.
Absolutely.
And you guys can check that out. But he goes ahead and he gets this big push with all this attention and goes ahead.
Couldn't have happened at a worse time.
Couldn't have happened at a worse time. And now here's the issue. What do they do about that? They already have this this great. It couldn't be more perfect too. The current world heavyweight champion is Mexican.
Yes.
Alberto Del Rio, and here he is with his anti-immigration stance going up against Del Rio. The plan, I guess, perhaps he might have walked into WrestleMania and walked out with a world championship. But
that seemed to be the plan, and we'll see what happens tonight.
Something's got to be done. He hasn't had his court appearance yet,
right.
too, so it might all stem on that.
Yeah, WWE's got to really backpedal and Hopefully, you know, obviously they can't cover it up, but you know, I'd like to see how they're going to work it into the storyline.
Exactly, and they can't cover it up. Also, they reached out to Glenn Beck, who's conservative commentator, really good friends with Keith Olbermann.
Yes.
Of course, no, not really, but commentator Glenn Beck turned down an invitation to appear on Raw tonight, and Beck stated that, unfortunately, I am currently booked doing anything else. Something he probably would say. So it makes you wonder now, WWE has this, they don't like being turned down. That's the bottom line there. Now, are they going to turn around and try to make fun of Glenn Beck because he's not coming on the air?
Oh, they'll mock him in some fashion, which would I think would be a mistake. You're really poking the bee's nest with that line, but I think they will definitely poke the bee's nest.
I mean, Olbermann used to do it all the time at his show. I mean, I can't count how many times Glenn Beck got worst person in the world, but so we'll have to see what kind of response they make to Glenn Beck not wanting to come on. Glenn Beck talked about it on his, wherever he does his show now. I'm not exactly sure.
It's a syndicated radio show.
It's a syndicated radio show. He talked about the Jack Swagger, Zeb Coulter gimmick on his show. Yeah,
it's a midday show, and I was driving around. I happened to catch it, and I'm like, wow, Glenn Beck's talking about WWE. What could be more bizarre than that? And,
seriously. What's the next thing? He changes his mind, comes in, and challenges The Undertaker?
You know, at this rate, Glenn Beck might win that match.
I always wanted to see him and Olbermann at it in the Hell in a Cell match. But anyway, enough about, well, not quite enough about politics. The return of Linda McMahon.
Linda McMahon has been vocal all the way through. I'm a fan of hers, and you know, obviously, I've admitted on the show before I worked on her campaign, and I hope she stays in the local, you know, in the spotlight. And I'm thinking maybe governor.
The Huffington Post recently interviewed, which is an online newspaper, recently interviewed her, and she said she'd most likely never run for political office again. But I mean, 2014 is...
Never say never.
Never say never. And we have a governor that'll be up for re-election that isn't exactly popular amongst everyone.
Hey, you know what? I'll get out and start pounding doors for her again. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, you know, she says this now, but who knows? So, Linda McMahon, talking about that, was... she was asked about the Jack Swagger, Zeb Coulter controversial storyline. But she likened, she said it's just a storyline, basically, likened it to Batman conquering a villain on a movie.
You know, the funny thing with wrestling is that these mainstream media, right, who are now reporting on this story, go out of their way and say that wrestling is fake, you know, it's not real, it's scripted, and now they're getting hold of, you know, this storyline and acting as if it's real. Well, you know, NBC News and CNN and Glenn Beck himself, you can't have it both ways. Either you're going to argue on one side of the fence and say it's fake, it's scripted, it's storyline, and then they're on the other side of the fence acting as if the storyline is real. You know, which is it? You can't argue both sides of the story.
It's
you
true.
really can't. You know, and they're just grasping this character, Zeb Coulter, and you know, we all know it's a character. You know, it's really, you know, it's not a real guy, and it's a script. Mm-hmm. And they're acting like it's a real thing and going like totally off the wall.
They took the whole spiel from. There's an independent wrestler out in that area of the country, New Mexico, Arizona. I think he goes by R.J. Brewer. Right. Now everybody knows the governor of Arizona is Jan Brewer,
right? And
this guy's trying to say he's Jan Brewer's son.
Yeah,
and he's constantly cutting promos along the U.S.-Mexican border. I've
read about him.
Yeah, read about him, and he's
when it first happened, he was the first person to say something, and basically, it's if you have a bigger spotlight, someone's going to steal it. Someone's going to steal whatever's good, and they probably saw it.
They saw it because it was.
And they knew they could make money off it.
ABC News Nightline had a story about this R.J. Brewer character.
Right.
I happened to be up one night watching it, and here we are 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, and we have a similar character in the WWE.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm not trying to blame Nightline or anything, but
No. I mean, hey, it's a storyline that obviously caught, not just the wrestling world, but the entire media by storm. So, hey,
You don't have to be a wrestling fan to have an opinion on the subject.
oh, absolutely,
That's, That's why WWE's going to run with it.
yeah. And it worked. Because here we are. Not only are we talking about it, a wrestling show, right? The mainstream media grabbed it, and in 6 weeks before WrestleMania, to get all that airtime, there's no such thing as a bad story.
exactly.
Any exposure is good exposure. And to be on all these different, like I said, NBC, CNN, syndicated radio shows, talking about WWE, it's just drawing more attention to the product.
The mainstream media always complains about WWE, but when they do something like this, they're always jumping on it. And
you would think the best thing that, all the mainstream can do is ignore it and act like it didn't even happen, doesn't exist. Don't give them the exposure. But, I think they fell right into a trap, and, Vince is going to...
He's going to reap the benefits of it.
Exactly.
I say the main event for, that world title match, I think is still going to happen. Whether he wins the belt or not now is another story. I could see Del Rio walking out of there retaining the belt now at this point.
Yeah.
But that's still going to go on because he's basically put all this effort into making that match for WrestleMania 29. I don't think he's going to scrap the idea.
It's been done before, though. I mean, maybe not WrestleMania, I can't recall, but there have been matches that changed. You'll throw in, it could very easily happen tonight with the #1 contenders match.
Well, Jeff Hardy missed a WrestleMania a few years back because of a wellness violation.
Did he?
Yeah, he was scheduled, and they had to
They had to just redo the whole thing. But this is like,
we know Jeff Hardy.
I mean, they've done it with injuries before. They could definitely do it with this. It just, I personally don't think it's going to be a big enough charge for him to take him completely out of the picture.
Right.
I think they're just, I don't know. It's a tough call, but.
And you got Dolph Ziggler's briefcase, which is still looming.
Yeah.
And if Dolph Ziggler were ever to have an opportunity to turn babyface, it's possible you might see Swagger win that belt. And as a way of getting back at him, all right, well, you almost screwed this up, Jake, which is his real name.
Yeah.
So guess what? Dolph, you run in there with a referee, you tell him to ring the bell.
Yeah.
You might see that happen because I don't think they really know what I think that briefcase is going to be cashed in at WrestleMania, but it's a question of what they were going to do.
Yeah. It's an interesting, it definitely puts a new spin on the whole storyline. So I like to see what they do to scramble to fix it.
But you never know events. He probably wants you talking about it, too. They might not just do anything, keep it exactly the way it is, because everyone's going to say, oh, something's going to happen. They're going to suspend Swagger. They're going to have him lose. They're going to make him look stupid. Or they could just have him win like the rumor is and just, all of a sudden everyone's going to be like, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
We all think something else is going to change. Vince might just be like, you know what? I'm going to just give it to the fans. That's the problem with him. He's very unpredictable.
Very unpredictable. You never know exactly what's going to happen. But anyway, where was I here? We're talking about that. Conservative commentator Glenn Beck. We covered that. What else do we have here? John Cena versus CM Punk is going to be a match which is going to happen tonight. Raw is emanating from Dallas, Texas. So we have John Cena versus CM Punk one more time, with Cena putting his Royal Rumble victory over Punk, who Cena was unable to beat during Punk's 1 year plus title reign. The winner goes on to face The Rock at WrestleMania 29, but I thought that match was already The Rock versus Cena, so what do you think?
This is another one, I think, kind of like the Swagger situation. We can either speculate. I mean, I personally am a little biased towards it. I think CM Punk had a 443-day reign, and your main goal in the WWE is to have headline WrestleMania. And did he do that as champion? No. They headlined Rock Cena over him.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't have the title. He's technically not in the the picture to be in the main event again.
Right.
I was like, the guy did something right to get a year reign. So he did it.
The reason why I always thought they were making a big deal out of that number, 443 and counting, 500 days and counting, I thought that was a number that was going to rise all the way up to WrestleMania. And that, since they want to make a big deal out of that number, they're going to have him drop the title at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So I was a little surprised when The Rock beat him at the Royal Rumble.
I was just as surprised, too. And then I honestly, he might actually win it back. And then there could be a triple threat going on. I mean, I think this might stem to a triple threat.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You're going to see Punk, Rock, Cena at WrestleMania, triple threat.
That's the best idea, because last year it was supposed to be, this is it, this is the only time it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen
Once
again.
in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime. So if you make this John Cena versus The Rock match again, now it's twice in a lifetime. Whether there's a belt lingering over or not.
Let me pose this to you, right? With the recent announcement of Bruno Sammartino, do you think they would have run Punk for a longer run, just to tease Bruno Sammartino to say, hey, you know what, we're going to give this guy a longer run than you had? Do you think that was
I don't,
like
because
a fish on a hook?
I don't. It's still too early to tease that.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was champion for 6 years,
Right,
8
right.
years, whatever it was, to a year and a few months.
Yeah.
It just.
Oh, yeah.
It's a stretch,
Yeah.
but
That's a long stretch.
stretch.
Yeah, I think it would get boring having the same guy with the belt for 6 years.
I don't know.
At this
I wouldn't mind it because it'd be different. You know, over the last few years, all you've seen is so many different champions for short reigns. So when Punk had the year, I was definitely on board with it. Like, it's the way it should be. This guy's the best. He's proving he's the best. And when you have the championship and it goes back and forth to a bunch of different people, it loses something.
it devalues it. It really does. It looks like, they just pass it around. Like, the student of the month in grammar school, Everybody got to be student of the month eventually. It's like, well, you've been in the company long enough, we're going to put the belt on you. But, I don't think Vince was ever really behind CM Punk to begin with, because, he doesn't fit the classic mold of the WWE, or going back to WWF World Champion. He's too small, and he's not.
He is pretty small.
For the WWE, World Heavyweight Champion, and he's very outspoken.
Of course, Rey Mysterio is pretty small for the World Heavyweight title too, and he still got it.
Right. But overall, if you look at the list, it's 99% bigger guys, and guys that have really towed the company line. And obviously, we know CM Punk is very outspoken, and I would imagine hard to control. So Vince isn't necessarily the puppet master behind a guy like Punk.
Yeah, Punk is not afraid to pick up a microphone and say what he's got to say.
Right.
I think it's almost like he was a sober Steve Austin in a way. It's
He gets away with a lot, I'm sure.
Kind of the guy that you don't really want to piss off. He'll say what he's got to say, and that's it. And if McMahon was in any position to wrestle, I think which he's not anymore. That would have been a fun match to have.
He has a fight tonight.
He does have a fight tonight. Getting to my next thing with Paul Heyman. What's this fight all about?
I'll tell you what that fight's about. I'll predict here and now, Team McMahon versus Team Heyman. Triple H comes out, defends his father-in-law against Brock Lesnar. WrestleMania, Lesnar, Triple H, representing Team McMahon and Team Heyman. Whether or not they add additional players into the fact, I don't know. But I'm going to predict somehow Triple H representing the McMahon family, Lesnar representing Paul Heyman and his guys.
What about The Undertaker participates in a tag team match this year? Triple H and The Undertaker.
That would be a good way
Brock Lesnar and CM Punk.
That would be a good way to protect Undertaker.
If they weren't going to put CM Punk in a three-way.
Right.
Well, the biggest rumor is Taker Punk so far. That's what's been floating around everywhere, and with the speculation of The Undertaker not going to be at WrestleMania, then they didn't know what to do, because I guess he wasn't officially medically cleared at first.
Really?
And that's when the triple threat rumors came in. So, who knows?
I think Lesnar versus Undertaker would be... That's what I want to see. That's a big guy versus...
I don't know. I don't think either one of them are really going to work. If it was a short match, it would have to be right before the main event and get in and get out and do something spectacular in a very short period. But anything more than 10 minutes, I think, especially Taker, it's going to get boring.
You don't think he can handle a match with Brock Lesnar? Or?
I don't think either one. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think now. I think after, especially though the hype of the last, say, 4 years, you have 2 Shawn Michaels matches, 2 Triple H matches that just tore it down every time. If you put Brock Lesnar in, who's, I don't know if I get in trouble for saying that not the best worker. I don't know.
Well, it's your opinion,
Is the
so
guy
you're
who,
allowed to speak your opinion.
Yeah. You know, especially just from the match that he had with Cena when he came back was just, you know, Undertaker needs someone who's going to work for him. And I think, you know, Triple H, you know, worked his butt off for him. Shawn Michaels worked his butt off for him. So if you put him with Punk, he's going to do everything he can to help the Undertaker, where I think Lesnar's kind of in it for himself. Yeah. He's going to do what he can to look good.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got 2 guys that are really, you know, that are not going to sell for one another. So it's going to be a spot fest.
They say Lesnar has a big temper, too. There was something about that Cena match he didn't like, and he went ahead and he started ripping up the locker room. And I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing with the Triple H match he had. It was just very little crowd reaction. People don't want to see Lesnar go out there and do his UFC stuff. Mm-hmm. People liked when he did his actual wrestling stuff.
Mm-hmm. He's not in the UFC
And I don't
anymore.
feel like that's really finished either. Like they could still tease the Lesnar Triple H thing. Because I feel like that rivalry kind of ended because he broke his arm, but you'd think that
there was no
Triple H has got to make some sort of comeback.
So Triple H gets his arm broken. Triple H loses to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam and decides to just take it and go back up in his cubicle
which leads me to my point that you're going to see some sort of Triple H Lesnar, whether it's a singles match or it's Team McMahon versus Team Heyman. I think that just makes more sense. You know, adding to what you just said, there was no official blow-off, you know, resolution to that feud. And speaking of Brock Lesnar, I don't remember if I mentioned it last week, but his deal with current contract with WWE allows him to have advertising on his, a la UFC, on his shirts, which is a first for, you know, the WWE company, where, you know, they're allowing an individual performer to make money off of their own product.
Yeah,
So,
that doesn't really happen too much.
You know, I don't know if you know, the other performers are going to see this and say, hey, you know what, I could put Kellogg's on my shirt, and you know, like what's
John
Cena with Fruity Pebbles,
Yeah.
you know, and make an extra buck, you know, in the ring.
It's going to be like
on his ring
NASCAR.
gear.
Every wrestler is going to have a different product.
Right. Well, you do see that in the UFC, and like I said, you know, Lesnar managed to get that into his contract. So whether or not it's going to be a one-off deal where only Lesnar gets this deal, or if the other performers, once they come up for a renewal, say, hey, you know what, we want the same deal. I want a Nike or what have you, whatever they want to support, whoever wants to support them.
The small thing I noticed is like 2 weeks ago when The Rock was on, he wears that Under Armour shirt with his logo on it.
Yeah.
And I kind of laughed and I was like, hi, it says Under Armour on it. And then last week on Raw, the Under Armour was scratched out. And I was like, someone must have picked out and said, we're not giving away any advertising.
Yeah. It's interesting. We'll see what happens especially with the top tier guys. A guy like Cena could definitely sell advertising on his shirt, his shorts, his hats,
wherever.
You know.
Mm-hmm. What about they don't have anything scheduled for the Shield yet for WrestleMania? What kind of? That's a long walk to the. Are they going to come out through the crowded Giant Stadium like they've been? That's going to be a long walk for them. They might get so tired by the time they hit the ring that they might want to just sit down and relax.
Well, we might get the zip line. We might get 3 zip lines in, a la Shawn Michaels, and they get zip line in.
They get zipping instead of coming through the crowd.
Yeah.
So
but you know, that may fall into my Team Heyman deal. They may, you know, that may be revealed that Heyman is behind them, and they'll be with Lesnar and Team Heyman.
Mm-hmm. I don't see that happening only because I think there's too many big guys that would be on Team WWE right now.
Yeah.
Because you can't, because right now the Shield is feuding with, you know, Cena, which we know is going to be with The Rock, or Punk, however that works out. Within Sheamus, Ryback, I could see Ryback
taking
definitely
on
being in
multiple
it.
feuds at one time, basically.
Right.
Yeah, Jericho, but these guys need singles match at WrestleMania. You know, Sheamus deserves to be in a singles match. Jericho deserves a single, you know. These guys can't be, I feel like you put them in tag match, you're taking away from the show. These guys are here to work for WrestleMania to have the best match of their year and show off everything that they can do at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And you put them in a tag match, and
But there's only so much time. So
The elimination chamber match, it looked as if made a point of it last week. It looked as if the Roman Reigns and Sheamus were really going at it. They could even have a singles match against one another. Maybe you want to take the other two and put them up against Team Hell No and have 2 out of the 3 members of the Shield actually walk away with gold.
Bronze, yeah.
The tag team straps.
Yeah, the tag team pennies.
I don't see that. If they're going to do that, they would just make it 3-on-3. They'd probably just throw Ryback in it.
Yeah.
And just do team.
Oh, I mean, we
Ryback.
can go Freebirds rules and have the 3 members of the Shields and any one of the 3,
Or the tag team
any
champions.
2 of the 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you remember the Fabulous Freebirds.
Oh, of course.
And you know they did that. So I mean,
Then
there's a lot
that
of possibility.
Fantasia character.
Yeah, Fandango.
Well, I'm talking about the Freebirds.
Oh, the Freebird. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's this Fandango guy too, which
Yeah.
I'm getting really annoyed with looking at his commercials every day.
Yeah.
Every time I watch SmackDown.
Well,
He worked the house show too. I read that Taker was on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who he worked, but they're just gonna try and rebuild another character. I mean, it was Johnny Curtis. He already was there. I think he's been there forever with NXT.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're gonna try and repackage him, basically another Ryback without the size.
Right.
He comes in, Skip Sheffield, doesn't do too well, gets hurt. All right, let's come back with something else.
yeah.
They were already calling him Ryback Skip Sheffield.
Yeah.
Or the Ryback.
His name was Ryback in FCW,
Uh-huh.
and he was tag partners with Sheamus. And when he brought him up, they decided to make him Skip Sheffield for whatever reason, talent purposes.
Yep.
And obviously,
It
they're
did
like, all right,
really.
well, let's go with your idea now. And now
Because I
where he
noticed
is.
he gained a lot of muscle mass since he came back, since he was in the Shield.
I'm sorry. These are not the roids you're looking for.
Feed me roids. Feed me.
These are not the roids you're looking for. We may go.
So anyway, so that's that. Jericho is not scheduled for tonight. He's on tour with Fozzy.
Yes.
He's got previous commitments. He has to go strum the guitar.
Well, no, he doesn't play, but
He
You
just
got to hold the
sings.
microphone.
yeah, he's a phenomenal front man. I saw Fozzy at BB King's in New York City a couple of years ago, and I got to admit he put on a great show. You know, the energy that he had in the ring and on the mic in the WWE and WCW definitely translates to a front man, and he gets out there and he gets the crowd pumped up. And honestly, he can sing. You know, and having heard the CDs, and seeing it live, sometimes it doesn't always translate, but he definitely can sing, and he got the crowd pumped, and his band, the band was already established, and he kind of like walked into it and brought him to the next level. But I mean, the band had been around for several years before
he
Jericho
joined
got
it.
involved. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it was almost, Fozzy was started almost as a goof. He would go down and sit in with them, and they would just do covers.
Uh-huh.
And they got signed, without even an audition. They had, people knocking at their doors for a record contract, only because it was Jericho, and it was so hot at the time, in the wrestling world that, they said, hey, let's sign a contract.
Let's do it.
So, I mean, it's fortunate for the band, the rest of the members of the band, that they get this national tours and this big platform because
and
they got
a
involved.
lot of it is because of Chris Jericho.
Yeah, oh yeah. And these guys, if Jericho decides to leave, will definitely have a career after Jericho.
They made it. They were just doing local bars.
Yeah.
Because
and
like every indie wrestler would love to make it into the big leagues. Every local band would love to one day be known nationally. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. Rich Ward, the guitar player and primary songwriter, wrote most of the All That Remains album without Jericho's involvement. And The Enemy, which you can look up, was a hit on MTV for a short period of time. It's a great video. It's a great song, and it's mostly Rich Ward that did it. Jericho on the next album, Chasing the Grail, did have involvement in the songwriting, but the All That Remains album, which really broke the band, was mostly Rich Ward, and it was his band to begin with, and he'll definitely take the bands after Jericho leaves. You know, I mean, we've seen several successful bands replace their singer. You know, Iron Maiden being the most prolific after, you know, replacing the singer. So Fozzy will definitely exist.
I'll have to go
with or
see
without
them sometime
when
they come up here to Connecticut or the area, New York area, because I try to support local music like I try to support local wrestling. I'm always out there for locations, checking out different bands on the weekends and enjoying myself.
Are you a fan of metal or the Fozzy sound? Or?
My theme song I come out to is
Yeah,
Fozzy.
that's true.
God Pounds His Nails. It's a great
Pounds
song.
His Nails, yeah.
They were just in December. They were in Wallingford. I went and saw them.
Oh, at the Oakdale.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big package tour. Right.
Yeah, I can't remember now. 3 Days Grace was the headliner.
Yeah.
But I basically just went for Fozzy.
Yeah. I was considering that, and I'm like, you know, I expected what they play, like 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, they basically played their, you know, best 6, 7 songs.
Yeah, see, I didn't want to spend the ticket. I would have gone just for Fozzy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know, I'd rather see them do a full set rather than see like a little tease.
Yeah.
You know, almost like a promo, for God's sake. But yeah, I see them lasting a long time.
Go support them if they come around, definitely. Others advertised for tonight: Rey Mysterio, Alberto Del Rio, Big Show, Randy Orton, Sheamus, Ryback, Kane, Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler will be there. You know, the usual. Biggie Langston, AJ Lee, Wade Barrett, the U.S. champions, Antonio Cesaro, Cody Rhodes, and Layla. So they got quite a few people on 3 hours of television tonight.
Yeah, they got a stacked show.
So it'll start on after we're over. We're not on before them. They're on after us. That's like I always like to say. Somebody else who might be making an appearance, if her father has anything to say about it, and he claims she's ready because Ric Flair made an appearance at an NXT show last night in Melbourne, Florida, because his daughter, who's going by Charlotte Flair, was in a tag team match with Summer Rae, and he accompanied his little girl to the ring.
Oh, it's beginning to look like Bring Your Child to Work Day at the WWE with all the second and third generation stars. I hope they allow her to wrestle, as we've said on this show many a time, rather than come out and just be eye candy. And,
if that happens to Ric Flair's daughter, where she's just going to be eye candy and not wrestle, I don't think he's going to be happy about that.
Well, as long as she gets a paycheck, I'm sure he'll be happy.
There's prestige. You make her the Divas champion. You put 3 other girls with her.
Oh,
come on! Why not?
The 4 horsewomen?
Why not?
The 4 horse persons?
Yeah.
To be politically correct.
I
don't think they have enough divas in the
I think
company.
that might take up all their divas. That's
right?
The problem.
Yeah. Who are they going to fight?
But if they bring other people, other girls in the meantime, they could maybe do that. But her finishing maneuver is, you'll never guess.
I'll take 3 guesses: figure 4, and figure 4.
You know, you're right. It's the figure 4.
Shocking.
I can't. The thing of it is, if she comes in, The Miz is already doing the figure 4 because Ric Flair says
a few people already do the figure 4.
Yeah.
It's not really a finisher anymore since he left.
Right.
Now they're going to rebill it as a finish where they're going to have these divas tap out in seconds. You know, there's going to be no ifs, ands, or buts. Once she locks it in, they're going to tap out
What's
immediately.
her entrance music going to sound like? It's going to be probably similar to her father's. What's she going to do? Woo! But it's going to be a girl.
We'll see if she does the chop as well.
She's got the blonde hair.
We'll see if they let them bring it back.
Yeah.
So
we've been really remiss. We have a guest, and let's get to the PWA.
Let's do it.
International champion, Lucifer Lords. Saturday night. Tell us what happened, how you won. Pedro won, donates the third. Talked a lot of junk.
He did. You know, from the show before, if you saw it, he entered himself into a match that I was in with Buzz Bloodsaw. Supposed to be one-on-one match. He comes in, says he's the commissioner, he can do whatever he wants. There's a loophole, the voting, who knows what. Also, now it's a triple threat match. Now instead of beating one person, I got to beat two people to win the title. But luckily, it was in my favor. A few things happened here and there. If you didn't see it, you should have been at the show. Buy the DVD.
We'll have to watch it on DVD due to inclement weather that was a concern.
This Saturday, but the match, the triple threat match, we were actually at. We do have footage, and we've promised to show it to you, but we've gotten guests each week, and we will get you some of that footage soon.
Well, yeah, so then that stemmed off to the next show, which was this past Saturday in Ware, Massachusetts. Really, the person who loses the title is the next #1 contender. And you would think that's Buzz Bloodsaw, but again, if you're at the show, Pedro had actually won it, and then the match had restarted where I ended up winning it. So he's the rightful #1 contender. I don't agree with it, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. So Pedro talked a lot and definitely gave me a run for my money. I didn't really see it coming, but we had a good match, and I came out victorious.
Hail Von Schmidt.
What about the rest of the card?
The rest of the card was great. I mean, everyone that comes to PWA to work is just phenomenal. Everyone goes really all out for every match. Great locker room atmosphere. Just everyone who comes in, works as a team. We want to put on the best show possible. Be the best promotion in Connecticut with the best talent that just everyone can enjoy from beginning to end.
That Shelton card was great. The East Haven card was great.
Yeah, I've been to several of PWA sponsored shows, and I'm definitely a member of the Von Schmidt Nation.
Hail Von Schmidt.
PWA has been very friendly with our show here, and we can't say enough good things about it. We promote all your events, and it's just, as we say, it's great entertainment. You're tomorrow's star today, sitting right here, and
he's already a star. This belt is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you go out to either Shelton, Connecticut, Ware, Massachusetts.
Where?
Exactly. Within less than an hour ride from where we're sitting here, and you're going to see great entertainment right up close and personal. I mean, you make yourself available during intermission, signing autographs with the kids, photos, right? And you don't even have to pay them $20 a shot. If you wanted
Not
to, you
yet,
could.
yeah. I'll take your money if you want to give it to me.
But next year you're going to see him on national television in one of the major promotions.
Hopefully.
No, not hopefully, definitely. And you're going to say, hey, I saw this guy. I shook his hand. I got to meet him, saw him fight. An amazing match, and you're going to be watching him on TV, saying, hey, I remember when. Just like I say many a time, you go to a club and you see a band, and the next thing you know, they're on world tour. You're like, hey, I saw them, at Toads.
Remember that? Yeah. Remember that night we went to the Chowder Pot over in Brantford, and here they are now.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Exactly. So, how did the Von Schmidt match go?
That was a very interesting match. Mega Muerte got the best of them, but there's always going to be another match. It's one of the announced matches too for March 23rd. We're back in Shelton. Mega Muerte versus Joseph Von Schmidt again. Little Schmidt, who's been a nuisance with that whole thing, especially in my match too, will be, I think, handcuffed to the ring.
Wow.
So there can't be any
So Little Schmidt can't go anywhere.
No shenanigans.
Yeah. I think James Robinson, as the rightful commissioner, is going to put his foot down and try and have some control now. Keep him out of the ring, keep it, special referees and hiding and coming out and doing switching and, no more.
You can't just do what you want when you want.
You can't. Von Schmidt's tried to get out of it every way possible, and it looks like now he's just going to be stuck in the ring with a 6'8", 350-pound giant.
John Von Schmidt with his German engineering.
Yes.
And the engineers a lot.
Everybody cheats except Von Schmidt. Right?
Schmidt happens.
Schmidt happens.
What are you going to do?
Exactly. And I'm still amazed at the agility of Mega Muerte.
Yeah.
The size of that man and, the things that he does in the ring just don't equate.
That man is a monster.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's not a Ryback where he's just a one-trick pony. and can barely get out of his own way. Mega Muerte is extremely athletic.
He is. He's one of the best big guys I've seen in a long time, and I've been in the ring with him, so I know firsthand just how talented he is and just how strong he is.
Yeah.
He's strong. He picks you up and he slams you down, and you feel it.
You know it.
You
don't want to get
it.
out of bed the next morning.
Yeah.
So March 23rd, back in Shelton, Boys and Girls Club, I'm guessing?
Yep. Same place, one positive place, very easy to get to right off 34.
Yep.
So we got that match, and then the other announced match will be the tag championships will be on the line for the first time in a legit match.
Yep.
Pedro Ordonez, who happens to be the tag champs through some other shiesty business of his own with
So
Earl Cooter.
he's the tag team champion.
He is. No, he's got a partner, Earl Cooter.
Earl Cooter.
Earl Cooter.
Yep. They're going to take on the team of Nocturne and Buzz Bloodsaw, goes by KOK, Killers of the Community. So that should be a very exciting match.
That's going to be a very
Those
exciting
guys together definitely know their stuff. And
We've had Buzz on this program before too.
He's a character.
He's buzzy. We had him out of character here, and,
Yes.
and then I saw him in character at the center ring in Wallingford.
Yes.
And I couldn't get over it. It was the same person.
I don't think he knows how many characters he has. I think he's got more than one voice up here.
Yeah,
He probably does. I wouldn't doubt it.
definitely more than
But
Randy Orton.
Bloodsaw, he was lurking around the center ring set, and he was making the girls feel uncomfortable a little bit too. We had him over here. He was nothing like that. I mean, the most he did was wear a blue shirt here, so he kind of blended into the chroma key a little bit. But no, he's a great worker too. So who is this Reefer? Reefer defeated Azrael and
West Draven.
West Draven for the Tough 8 title. And what is the Tough 8 title anyway?
The Tough 8 title originally started off at one of our first shows as an 8-man elimination match, basically. Everyone started off as kind of like a battle royal, except instead of getting thrown over the top, it was like a pin, or you had to count of 20 to get back in the ring if you were knocked out. And it just, once you got eliminated, it went down, down, down until you got to the last one standing, which Azrael won. And then now the stipulation is because it was an 8-man match, it has to be always defended with more than one person. So it's you get the triple threat match. So.
And I've seen Draven work. I've actually seen all of those fellas work, and Draven is another guy that's just
that was a very talented guy.
Very talented. Some great moves, top rope kind of stuff, and it's just
if you like a high flying match.
Yeah. Some just what I mean. Bottom line is you're seeing tomorrow's talent. Today.
You're seeing
And
more. You're seeing
up
more action in 20 minutes of PWA than you are in the first 20 minutes of Raw.
Oh, in the first 2 hours of Raw. And I believe that the creativity is top notch. The showmanship, absent absent all of the fireworks and production value, which obviously you don't have the budget for. These guys have to work that much harder to put on a great show, and they absolutely come out and give you 110%.
Because it's not about the fireworks.
Right,
it's not about the
100%,
big screen.
So what you're getting is in-ring action. You're not getting all the buzzers and whistles and bells.
No,
you're getting talent in the ring.
When I was growing up, that's what it was. Wrestling was wrestling. Wrestling was you walked down. You didn't have any big jumbo screen.
Right. Wrestling mattered.
Exactly. You walked through the door and into the ring, and you wrestled.
Yeah. So how did you get into wrestling, by the way?
Probably the way everyone else did. I watched it on TV.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to be that guy. Who doesn't want to be in the spotlight?
And who was that guy? Who was your inspiration?
That guy, originally, the very first T-shirt I ever bought was Bret Hart.
Wow.
I remember being a little boy at the Hartford Civic Center for a house show. I didn't know what a house show was. I thought it was televised. I didn't care. I was on the floor. They had the old metal guardrails. And
Oh, yeah.
I remember running up there, and the first person I high-fived was Bret Hart. I had the glasses on, the T-shirt, and I was in elementary school, and I remember the second person was Shawn Michaels, and he was champion at the time. And I just remember touching that belt and being like, that's interesting.
Interesting.
And then, watching it growing up and, wondering, once you start getting older, like, well, how do these guys get to who they are? And found out, you have to get trained just like any job. And you find a school to go train, which is right in New Haven. 10 minutes away.
Yep.
Start training there, and the rest is, what they say, history.
So all of your training has been with PWA?
I had some seminars here and there and some other training up in Massachusetts, but not like the training I had here.
Okay.
It's by far the most hands-on training, the best you can get for your money. You know, Joseph von Schmidt's the head trainer, and he knows absolutely so much what you need to know to be a wrestler. It's at 33 Chestnut Street in New Haven. It's only, it's 10 exits away from here.
Not that far.
Yeah, not far. We train Monday through Thursday. You should definitely check it out if you want to get into it. It's the place to go in Connecticut. It's the only place to go in Connecticut.
I've visited the gym many occasions, and it's not only in ring where Joseph von Schmidt is your mentor, out of the ring. You know, I must say that every time I've gone there, every time I've had any of the PWA talent on the show, even going to your shows, all of the fellas treat each and every person with respect. They come up, they shake your hand. There's no controversy. There's no divas. There's no I'm better than you. There's no attitude. It's like the
locker room is strong.
They're good men.
If the locker room is strong, that's going to make the product outside of the locker room even better.
I can't say enough that you take your time. You walk out of your way and say, "Hey, John, how you doing?" Everybody, all right. I bring my fellas, my boys down, and you guys are just great. Not only in the ring, but outside the ring as people, as men.
We appreciate that. That's what we strive for. Definitely respect is number one. Everyone looks out for each other too. Wrestling's a weird business. It's not a team, but it is a team. Everyone wants to get signed, but only one person can get signed. But you work as a team to get there.
Exactly.
So you kind of leave it all in the ring. You're outside the ring. You do what you can to be friends with everyone and help each other out. And in the ring, you're all fighting for one thing. But it's the respect too.
But you can't have a match with yourself, so you need somebody else to help you make it.
Even though somebody tried to have a match with an invisible person over in Japan, and I saw that on YouTube, and I was like, well, that's a whole other story.
But you always need an opponent to make you look, make each other look good. And you guys do quite a tremendous job.
It's putting each other over. It's making somebody, take notice of what they have.
So have you had any memorable matches?
My career has been that long. I mean, believe it or not, I really started training hardcore about 8 months ago.
Okay.
And I'm PWA champion, so really my best match so far has had to be when I won the title, because that's, I never thought in my head I would be a champion. I mean, like I wanted to. I thought I could do it, but then once it actually happens, you're like, well, I got to that first step. Now, where's that next step now? And now it's more titles, more exposure. It gets, recognized.
What about a dream match? Somebody anybody past, present, that you want to step in the ring with?
Probably typical. The guy I watched the most matches of, I've tried to imitate the most growing up, is Shawn Michaels. And I don't know anyone who watched wrestling during the past 20 years that didn't think he's by far the best. Every DVD he came out with, I've studied every single match he's done. I mocked him the most, as a kid, or even until recently. Who doesn't like going up and just,
the
showstopper,
the headliner, the main event, and when he said that, he was not kidding, and he put his heart and soul into it every time, whether it was with DX or whether it was just himself. Even the Rockers, when he first started out.
Yeah, he put a lot of himself into everything he did, and it definitely paid off.
Definitely.
He worked hard. It took him, everyone thinks he was overnight sensation, but it took him a long time to get where he got. But the Lucifer Lord's character, how'd you come up with that?
It just kind of happened, there's not really a great story to it, as much as I love to tell you. It was just kind of...
How did you get that name? It
was just kind of given to me. There's... we're just kind of coming up with things, and I had the Fozzy thing going, kind of, God pounds his nails, and I had the Lords, and then, kind of got the Lucifer thing, you got the Heaven and Hell, the tights with the girl with the devil horns and the halo, opposite each other, and, Lords is up high, Lucifer's down low. I kind of had that mixed look with I kind of got the baby face, but the long hair and tattoos was kind of like, is he kind of a bad guy? And it's kind of like, well, I can be a bad guy or I can be a good guy.
So it fits in. Oh, that's great. That's great.
So you basically could be a heel and baby face and back to heel all on the same card.
Pretty much.
Wow.
CM Punk definitely pulls it off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho pulls it off.
You're shaking their hands on the way to the ring, and once you pick up the mic, you tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
There you go. That's pretty interesting. Lucifer Lord. Now, Lucifer Lord's hails from South Dakota.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to be from Sturgis? You know, Bike Week.
There you go.
That's the dream place to want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Figure I fit in pretty well there.
Yeah, well, you had The Undertaker as a biker character for a short run there.
Yeah, a few years. That was different for him.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it. Kind of too bad it went away.
Yeah.
Almost. He was getting somewhere with it, but he went back to the dead man. That's always good.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with your roots there.
So we also had the Posse defeating TKO, Nocturne defeating Earl Cooter, Buzz Pludsaw defeating Christian Frost, who I've interviewed before.
Christian Frost, a good guy, good talent.
Also works for NEFW up in Chicopee, Massachusetts. Yep. I'll plug them real quick. March 2nd, which is next Saturday, the Boys and Girls Club, Slam Rock.
In Chicopee.
Right. I'm hoping to attend that. It looks like I will. Weather permitting,
Weather
of course.
permitting, yeah.
Of course. And we will have the footage, which we will show next time we're around. I told everybody we weren't supposed to be on tonight, and all of a sudden we ended up being on.
Here we are.
Yeah. I wasn't lying. I was just my agent, my people in back, it gave me the wrong intel. I don't know. The next time I'm going to have to write them up. That's all. Johnny Slats, who I also interviewed once before at an autograph signing, defeated Heart Attack Mac.
Tommy Mac.
Tommy Mac wants to have a tryout with TNA for that gut check. I understand.
A lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
What about you? Would you do that?
I didn't even know they were doing a gut check. I guess bad on my part.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people voting on it. I heard a lot of controversy on it. I think they took the voting down too because there was some loophole in it. But you know, the big thing with all of us is you want to get on TV. That's where the money is. That's where anything contract is what you want. Guaranteed money.
Nikki V last week sat here and she said, her beautiful self said, if Vince McMahon walked in here right now and offered me a contract, I'd turn him down flat. Now, what if he walked in here right now and offered you a contract? Would you turn him down, or would you take it?
It would depend what the contract said. You know, it's my dream to work for WWE. I'd love to walk down that ramp at least once. You know, if the money was right, you know, I might do it. If not, you know, I kind of like my freedom. You know, I don't want to be bound to, you know.
They travel the world, too. You get to see the world.
I would get to see the world, but, you know, you see guys talking and they get burnt out. You know, right now I pick my shows where I want to work, where I want to go, what I make. You know, it's nice having your freedom. Do I want to be locked down? Yeah, if he wants to pay me $1 million a year,
$1 million.
I would take it.
Then figure the money you're spending on food, maybe hotel stays. Maybe is it really $1 million a year, or is it really $500,000? You could still be happy with that, though.
Oh yeah, any significant money coming in would be nice.
Of course. We don't have much longer. I was told, I think 10 minutes, and I think that was like 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But we have 5 minutes left now.
Yep.
5 minutes and counting. And I don't know if we have a call or not. I heard the phone ringing. They're going to have to let me know that if we do. But
well, in the last 5 minutes, I know you got the show coming up. What else you got on the horizon? Anything you can foresee?
It's really week by week. I go to a few promotions. I mean, I will be in Ohio this upcoming weekend for Underground Wrestling. Worked Joseph Von Schmidt last time I was there for his heavyweight championship. Trying to think if I got anything else. I've been to New Jersey. We have NWA on Fire, which is pretty close. And I know they run on TV. Had a TV appearance with them. I'm sure I'll be back there. Right now, yeah. And then just more PWA stuff.
PWA.
Yeah.
Place to go. I have to check out their school one of these days.
School. There's a Pro Wrestling Academy CT.com, a website, roster page, news page, all our shows coming up. You can check everyone out. And yeah, come down to the school and say hi to everyone.
Definitely.
So We're always there, and like I said, we say hi to everyone that comes in.
Oh,
Anyone
yeah.
can walk in the door.
Oh yeah.
Anybody's,
And I do. It's fun.
you're on a first name basis.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
One of these
Oh,
days,
this guy
one of these
again.
days, they're gonna put you in the ring.
I would hope so. That would be
You never
fun.
know.
That would be fun.
It'd be pretty
I
interesting.
might run for commissioner next time.
There you go.
Yeah.
PWA commissioner.
PWA
Give James a
commissioner.
run for his money.
That's it. Yeah. We do have some bad news. The ETW. I do not know the reasoning behind it, but March
Extremely
16th,
Talented Wrestling, March 16th, has been canceled as of now.
As of I think it was last Thursday.
Yeah.
I got the announcement. Do not know why. Do not know if they're going to reschedule.
Yeah, unfortunately, but we'll keep you updated when we get some more information on that. But unfortunately, we did promote the show, and unfortunately, it's not going to happen. But things happen, and hopefully everybody involved is all right, and we'll get through. And
Definitely.
Vinny V, we wish Vinny V all the best of luck in the world, and all the health in the world, and we'll get back to him. Vinny V, give us a call, come on the show again, and we'll,
Yeah, well, there'll be another day.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Definitely.
they'll definitely make a comeback.
Exactly. So that's basically that settles that. And like I said, this coming Saturday we have Chicopee, Massachusetts. Haven't heard much from Eric Newton and company up there as of late, but I'm expecting a great card for Slam Rock. Always welcomed up there. It's always a pleasure talking to them. You've heard of them, I'm sure.
I know there. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot of people unless I've traveled with them because being your own wrestler, it's always in the gym or training. Or it's not that I don't want to know these guys, but
Yeah. Well, Christian Frost.
yeah, he's come down. He's worked a few times with us. He's a good guy.
Oh yeah. So it'll be nice to see what they have in store for us. They do have some big names coming down this Saturday. I do not know exactly what I can provide that onto our Facebook page and our blog site.
Absolutely.
I'll do a little research
And
here.
we did post the NEW and Northeast Wrestling has a show coming up May 3rd. So in future episodes we will definitely fill you in on that. It's going to be a huge card. Ron Zombie, friend of the show, making his return to the ring after more than a year. I believe.
More than a year now.
Yeah, that injury really took him out.
It's
And,
amazing. Yeah. I was doing top rope back then when he had the injury, and we've been on for a few months now. And
Yeah, we're coming up on almost a year ourselves.
oh yeah. But I am told I must be wrapping things up. They have to come in and clean the studio.
Well, we must thank Lucifer Lords, PWA International Champion.
Look at that belt. It's great.
Thank you for
It's
joining
almost
us.
as nice as the North Haven title. Almost. It's a close second.
And always keep us posted on what you're doing next, and you're always
absolutely.
welcome to come in.
Definitely.
Thanks for having me on. I'll definitely be on again. All right,
Yep.
check out the show coming up in March, 23rd, Shelton, Boys and Girls Club.
Definitely. And
John Zimmerman.
I'm Hollywood J. Williams. Good night and good luck, and we will see you again. And stay tuned for some footage next week from one of these. I think maybe we'll show the Shelton card last time.
Sure.
Definitely. Good night and good
PWA.
luck.